Hello everybody, hope you're doing well. Welcome to a Battlerealm Brawl Day 1 roundup. And look, it's always very interesting when these things kind of occur, how well they go. So first of all, I just want to say well done to Kabam. You gave it a go, and that's the main thing. And look, I'm sure people will flood in to say like, no, they didn't get it right, audio problems. I know that will be something I will be talking about in a second, but I just want to say like, well done for giving it a go. But there are some issues with this particular event. Of course there is. I don't know the extent of people that were able to attend. Like, as I knew, a lot of people within the audience were content creators or seem to be like pre-approved people to attend these particular, quarterfinals. I don't know whether or not it's the grand final will see a bigger audience. But it just seemed like there was a lot of, it was like, remind me of snooker. In the UK, snooker's a big thing. I don't know if it is in your respective countries. But snooker's a thing where people just like sit there quietly like this and just go, or kind of then clap if something goes well. But there was no hype. There was no kind of like overexcitement. And one thing I would like to point out is somebody that went to New York Comic Con 2019 and was the last time that really a Summoner Showdown, Battlerealm Brawl, whatever it is, was kind of about. It had a different vibe. And I think anybody that attended that New York Comic Con 2019 would definitely understand that particular vibe. I mean, look, let's search it right now. Yeah, so I'm just playing this over the top right now. So this is from that particular event. There was people kind of like hollering. Obviously, people were standing up. It felt like more of a crowd-based thing. There's crowd interaction. As things were happening, people were getting hyped. You know, it's all that stuff right there that I remember. And of course, we get that moment with MSD. And I remember there, like everybody literally was just going like nuts, like literally. You can hear like people just sit shouting in the background. The reason I think this worked versus say like the way that, and I'm not saying like the way that the battleground situation side of things worked or didn't work. It's just a case of like when you've got one screen to focus on, it's one person to focus on. It's people just getting very much kind of like hyped around one singular as opposed to two things happening at one given time. And again, not to say there was any kind of issue with that. It's just a case of like, look, this worked because it was like you take a champion, you go beat a boss, the boss situation's been kind of clarified. Instead, like there's just a lot of stuff happening. And I think when there's a lot of stuff happening, it means that there's a lot of, I wouldn't say confusion, but it's like, yeah, there's just a lot of stuff happening on screen rather than something like this where it's like one singular thing. But that shouldn't really take away from any kind of like, issues from the event. It's just a case of like it's just different, and that's just it. But in any case, it looks like it was a good vibe. Kabam did a good job. I liked the way they were trying to do the commentary. It's just a shame that the audio let the side down with stuff. So that was a bit of a downside, a bit of dampener on it, but it shouldn't, as I said, take away from like what was a pretty good attempt from Kabam in order to do it. I would say as well, like they did say that they employed I think it was like a company to kind of like set this all up, or they were kind of like there was like a company that was going to be doing stuff with it, but for whatever reason, like I don't know if this game studios company within Vancouver are any good. Of course, they probably are good, but I don't know. Like, it's on them to ship their audio stuff. Like, otherwise we're talking about Kabam basically bringing in all their tech. Surely a company should have all this stuff like there and working effectively. Whether or not they tested this or not, and that's the other thing, like testing things out. Again, could be to do with the company, this game studios or whatever it is company in Vancouver. I don't know. That's another thing. I really wish I was attending this, but as I've said, like, the company that I work for, I just started working for back in June, and I only had a limited amount of time I could take this year, and I wasn't allowed any more time off, and it sucks because I really would have liked to kind of like attended this. So I'm definitely hoping next year works and we can do it. But I would say if this was at New York Comic Con, it would be different and it would be better. I'd say it would be better because you'd have a bigger audience. You also have from these particular live streams. So, and again, an example is this one here. You just have random people just like walking by and going like, well, what's the hype from this? the amount of people that look at this. Look. This is people in New York Comic Con, even people back here, stopping to see what is going on. Why is there so much hype? What is the deal with this? And it's like, that is just like so cool. I was standing with Storm Chaser. I think John as well was there. John's actually at Battlerealm Brawl, funny enough. You know, obviously Seaton's there. Like lots of other people. But like people are stopping to look and see what's going on. And it's a different vibe because then you grab more people in. And it turns into more this kind of like bigger audience type situation. Which, you know, I think is just like, it's great. And it's something that's really missed. And again, as I said, nothing against Battlerealm Brawl. Obviously, this was done on a fraction maybe of the budget because a booth costs a lot of money. And people would say, look, you're forking out for a booth and you've just laid off a load of staff this year. So look, there's going to be swings and roundabouts to like what Kabam can do. It's just a case of like the audio issues were a bit in a way annoying, but you know, in any case, what's some? I'm just looking at my notes right now. I think even Jax had to say to the crowd about like, you know, getting people engaged. I must admit, if I was there and Jax would be like, you know, we've got to get a bit more kind of like crowd thing, I literally would be up going, come on, woo, and kind of like getting everybody kind of like involved as much as possible, because you know, them's is what, you know, we need for the attendance or people watching. There looked to be like a lower amount of people watching this evening, especially over various like live streams and stuff. So that was kind of weird. Is there a bit of a fall off at the moment with MCOC viewing? It depends really. People are busy. People got stuff going on at the moment. So I guess that is what it is. But in any case, we're going to go over to the results just quickly. The results were really interesting, I must admit. So our finalists, if I can just get the info. So of our 8 people that we were going to see, these are the ones right here of the evening. I'm covering Trappy. I'll come back to him in a minute. Darth Ghost, Zarafa, Legacy, Man Nagasi, if I'm saying that right, Pepe, Andrew the Rough, Fintech. Some people I know, some people I don't, and I just want to say, like, you know, you all did a fantastic job. Look, Nerves. I've been with Legacy after he came off of a bit of a loss at New York Comic Con 2019. I think he did win like one of the days, like the day the beat the boss day. Obviously, you know, the situation with MSD winning. But yeah, it's like nerves get you at the worst of times. And that's the thing. Like when you're like, I could never do what any of these 8 people have done, because it just gets in your head sometimes when it comes to this. When it comes to MCOC, when it comes to other games, I'm absolutely fine with. But I don't know why. It's just MCOC. Just like it just gets in my head a lot of the time. Stuff to perform, like you got to perform, and if you don't perform, like the criticism people give, but people gave love. Like, you know, sad to see. You know, fair play to Man and Nagasi, fair play, you know, and commiserations to Legacy. So the winners, just to clarify, because before I go off on a tangent, which I will do in a minute, Fintech picked up the win, and also Pepe picked up a win. Man and Nagasi picked up a win. And Trappy, who I'm covering at the moment. I need to kind of like put him front and center, because Trappy is my underdog of Battlerealm Brawl. Massively impressed. Obviously, love for a fellow Brit. Got a fantastic win, and he is my standout of the tournament thus far. From a playing perspective, let's kind of like get some footage of it. The first fight with Fintech, these have been very well fought fights, with Darth Ghost taking a first early win. And respect to Darth Ghost, I think as well, it wasn't helped with the crowd were yelling at like a certain time, and it just kind of threw him right off. But that happens. Sadly, that happens. You can have these headphones on in order to get yourself locked in, but you are going to hear noise. Like, I've got what seems to be noise cancelling headphones, but I can still like hear stuff that kind of like is elsewhere. You know, if M's talking to me whilst I got them on a moment ago, I was like, well, I can hear that. But I got very kind of like strong hearing, so it's like I can, you know, these don't exactly cancel out. Especially if the crowd kind of get loud at a certain point. Especially if they've been quiet for a little time, and then all of a sudden, wah! It can be quite scary. But yeah, first wins go to Darth, and then it goes over to Fintech. And it's good performance. Fintech comes back strong, and I would say that's kind of like fantastic when that happens. See, like they go neck and neck, and then it's a case of like out in front goes Fintech to get the win. So fair play, honestly. Like coming back and getting that debut is great. I feel sorry for Darth because at first, like, if that commiserations, the commiserations player, just to have a quick word, just to say like, thanks and stuff, and it was just for everyone. I was kind of like, why was they just ignored? By the way, Panda Man Pete, there, love you, man. Just saw him there. Okay, so the next one, interesting, was Andrew versus Trappy. I must admit, the conditions, like, they brought their A game, like between Trappy and Andrew. And I think at times they were finishing at like 100% health. With like, here's an example right now. Both players are getting wins, both with excellent conditions. I really felt sorry for Andrew with it. Just to get losses with 100% health, man. Like, quality play, and they all deserve respect. But like, them's is the breaks. Like, Trappy is. I'm kind of like thinking, like, as I said, he's my underdog. He is, he's my clear underdog for this particular tournament, and he's my standout so far. So yeah, no pressure going into the finals, but I'm really looking forward to seeing what happens tomorrow with it. Some other kind of interesting news and kind of like fights that took place between the likes of Pepe and Zerafa. Similar situation. Pepe takes early leads into the fight. Zerafa early wins, and then Pepe comes back to finish off in a 2-1 situation. Some early nerves and jitters from Pepe, but he shows like why he's been one of the top players within the game for a long time by getting the W towards the end of it. And you can't get mad at that. Fair play at the end of the day when it comes to these particular situations. As I said, and as you see on screen, early wobbles but come back strong. And then going into other fights of the day, where we've got ourselves Mana versus Legacy. And yeah, it's just a case of like, I think Nerves got to Legacy. I feel for him because I remember, as I said, back in 2019, similar situation. But both it was a very scrappy fight. Some good fights here and there, some good comebacks. And I'm sure that we'll see what happens in the next round. But yeah, commiserations. And that's been the roundup of day 1 of the Battlerealm Brawl. I may be live streaming it tomorrow. Hope you enjoyed this video. Check out some other content located on screen. And I'll see you all soon. Have a lovely day. Bye-bye.